pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any community comments other than the people that are scheduled to speak?
Yes.
Okay. You want to step forward?
Sure.
Tell us your name and your address. And
Right here, okay?
yep, and public comment is 3 minutes long.
Okay. I'll make it 3 minutes. My name is Kathleen Harris. I live here in Door County. I'm here tonight because I understand that an acquaintance of mine, a student at Sevastopol, has been banned from all sports for 1 year. I don't know what his transgression was, but I assume it was serious and very grave. I'm not suggesting that you don't have the right to set rules and to punish transgressions. I'm asking you to consider whether or not banning a child, and we are talking about a child, from positive, healthy activities for 1 year is the best way to address a teenager's stupid mistakes. Will this correct the behavior or push the teenager further into stupid mistakes? I speak as a parent of 2 children who made plenty of stupid mistakes while pushing my boundaries and deliberately breaking the rules. I made plenty of parenting mistakes too, and I don't have a formula for perfect outcomes. I respect the job that you're doing and your commitment to good educational and behavioral outcomes for all your students. However, I am asking you to reconsider the 1 year no sports rule. Rather than taking away an experience that can keep kids out of trouble, provide them with positive role models and mentors, and motivate them to be healthy, will you consider an alternative? What about community service for a year with accountability and supervision? What about ride-alongs with the police department or asking them to become a cadet at the fire department? When appropriate, maybe mandatory therapy or tutoring or mentor programs. We live in a county with dozens of volunteer opportunities. I have to believe there's a better way other than taking away a positive experience from a kid who made a dumb mistake. Multiple dumb mistakes for all I know. I mean, I assume there's probably more than one kid that you've had to deal with this way. You are thoughtful people, I know that, and you're doing a really tough job. And I think you can find a better solution that is more likely to guide young minds toward positive outcomes and away from oppositional behavior with worse outcomes. In this life, we are lucky if we can say that we influence even one person, right? And I sincerely hope that someday a student comes up to you and says that you influence their lives in a positive direction at a critical time, when they're just kids. I thank you for what you're doing. And I failed to thank plenty of educators for the influence they had on me, so I thank you for that. You're making a difference. I'm simply asking you to reconsider what that difference is and what it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll comment on that just to say our administrations took that matter into consideration and have come to what they believe to be a favorable resolution for the student and their parents, so you might want to check back with that family.
Sure. Like I said, I don't know the details. It just, as a parent, it just struck me that
and we can't discuss the details.
Yeah,
But
I'm just saying that as a general rule, I think that taking a positive activity away from a kid is probably not going to accomplish what you're trying to do here.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We will hear the presentation on the outdoor classroom.
While we're moving back, we can introduce ourselves. I'm Lily Snyder. I'm the president of the Rotary Interact Club here at school. It's a fairly new club. This is our 2nd year, but That's who I am. I'm Sienna Kane. I'm the vice president of the Rotary Intern Club and kind of like the main leader of this project.
And I'm Luna Ramirez, and I'm just on the financing on this project.
So pretty much outdoor classroom was something we started last year. Last year was obviously our first year as a club, so it was more so getting a lot of funding in our account. So a lot of fundraisers. We did grocery bagging through Todix. We did DJing for the Sadie Hawkins dance, which was a fun new kind of fundraising opportunity. But last year we identified one of the Rotary 7 main focuses as protecting the environment and education, and we thought that Sevastopol had such a wonderful facility here to embody that. So we've kind of gone from that and designed this outdoor classroom that we wanted to use. Here are just a few main points. We know that hands-on learning is a great way for all sorts of students to learn. It's a fairly flexible space, whether it's for English or science or any of the agriculture classes. Additionally, outdoor exposure has been proven to, has been proven to help mental health, and obviously since that's such an important issue with this next generation, I think that that's a fairly important topic as well. So the outdoor classroom that we've kind of put together will include seating areas, which are the picnic bench tables. So when they're put together, it's a picnic table, but when you bring them back down, they turn into benches. The teaching space, which includes a wooden stage, several whiteboards, and then sheds for the whiteboards and stuff to go in the winter, and then natural elements, so possible gardening areas, and then of course accessible pathways for everyone.
Okay, so kind of our process of like how we started. Like Lily said, last year we started brainstorming, so kind of just what we all wanted to include, and then this year we started making a survey and sent it out to all of the teachers, just asking if they would actually use the facility. And we got incredible feedback, and almost everybody who responded was super excited and was willing to use it. We had middle school even say that they were going to use it for some sort of milkweed unit that they do, as well as like the ag teacher wants to use it for a garden unit that they were have. So everything was pretty positive, which helped kind of our ego a little bit to like make sure that everybody wanted to use it. And like Lily said, also our point of focus was the environment. So this is definitely one of the biggest things that you can do for that. And then we met with Dan as well as other like advisors just to kind of see what our route would be, and then we also looked for local businesses who would want to help. So we've had Dave's Tree Service that's going to help us, as well as Nelson's Hardware help us with kind of our funding, so then we don't have to use as much of our grant money that we raise, but also keep our community involved as much as possible. So we wrote to the district Rotary grant and got that, as well as a community foundation grant and a private grant. So far those are the grants that we have gotten, plus we have other funding that Luna will eventually talk about. So we have a location that you guys I'm pretty sure have, and then we talked about designs and layouts as well. So this is our location. It's back when you walk back this way and to the left. There's a path there that we have to clear out with trees, and then we have a little spot where we're going to put the stage, and then benches are kind of just scattered, but we're trying to keep it as natural as possible, so it's not like we're ruining the environment while trying to help it as well. And then these are just some things that we're going to hopefully use to include with the agricultural unit that Ms. Glowacki has offered to help us with too. So just kind of things to help her out with that. And then this is essentially what the stage and classroom is going to look like. Funding.
All right, so the funding part of this, I applied for many local grants and support from other Rotary organizations, like we have the Northern Door, the Sturgeon Bay. There was quite a few of them, and we ended up getting about $12,000, as you can see right there. So it was just kind of a lot of looking in where can we get money and applying for anything we could possible. And so we ended up raising quite a bit of money for this project. And then in addition to like all these businesses wanting to help out, like Dave's Tree Service, that's going to make sure we save this money so we can put it towards building everything. And for building things as well, we are doing a community project, so anyone that wants to help once we get to the assembly part can help do that. And we have had volunteers from all the other Rotary groups to help build that and just put it together, so we're not really paying for labor, it's all the voluntary work.
Yeah, so then kind of our timeline roughly, we kind of all touched on it, but last year was our first year as a club here at Sevastopol, and we were super excited for that opportunity. So Sienna talked about how we kind of were thinking of ideas, brainstorming, and then once we picked our main focus point, we really locked in on an idea that we wanted to follow through with. So then this past fall, we were surveying the teachers, trying to get a feel for how often it would be used, what people kind of wanted it for, and then this past, I would say winter and spring, we've been applying for grants, been getting those grants back, and then hopefully start to get it up and running and ready for next school year. That's pretty much all we have. Does anyone have any questions?
Can you go back a couple of slides? There. Okay, so the ground, the surface underneath, is that just natural grass, or you paving it? Or?
No, it's all staying pretty natural, so we have to bring a skid steer back there because it's really rocky and kind of bumpy, so we have to kind of flatten everything out, but we're hoping to just keep everything as natural as possible, and then we're also gonna make pathways. There's already a couple back there, but we're connecting to an already existing trail as well, so we're hoping to wood chip and mulch that and make it look as nice as possible.
Yeah, and we'll be doing that with all the dead trees and the other trees that we plan to cut down just for safety reasons, and we're just gonna turn that into our mulch, so that probably shouldn't be any additional expense to us at all.
And the stage is treated wood?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
there's a great existing trail out there right now.
Yeah,
Yes,
there
there
is.
And there's also, there's kind of an abandoned physical
Yeah.
exercise stations.
Yeah.
Do you think you have any plans to revitalize some of that?
As of right now, that's not really on our docket, but definitely as that area gets more popular, I can see that probably something the next few years, students will probably pick that up. This is Sienna and mine last year here, so we're trying to leave our impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about summer too, majority of, for instance, growing season is during the summer when students aren't here. You have some kind of plans, you've got a garden space planned and other, things, you have a crew that's volunteering.
Yeah, this has a decent amount of info on
Besides
things
the
compared to
teaching
us.
staff?
Right, so that is something that is in hopefully in phase 2. So phase 1 is building it, and phase 2 is gonna be kind of figuring out how we man that community garden.
All right.
We know that is going to be one of our hurdles, but I think getting it to start is the first step. And then we have had some community interest in helping with the community garden. It's just how that works and who coordinates the volunteers. And that is because of the growing season, we don't foresee anything being planted this summer. We see that as next year. For
Yeah.
community garden.
Because right now, that area that you designated for the garden is really just alfalfa field,
Mhm.
which will take some revitalizing and
Right.
everything else. Yeah, it's a great, that wooded area is a great area for science. And although it's shrunken down through the years, I think that's a great project for you guys to take on.
so the whiteboards, are they winter hardy?
That's what we plan on having, but we're also gonna put a shed so then they can be put away when not utilized, but we're hoping to keep them somewhat seasonal so that they can use them whenever.
And are the tables, picnic tables wood?
Not a question, but a few comments. I was blown away when I read the material that we got in our packets. And what a wonderful job you did in putting all this together and doing the survey work. It is fantastic. This would be a great thing to have on your resumes as you move forward leaving Sevastopol. And secondly, I can't help but think I have a couple of sources where you could get some state recognition for this project as it moves forward. So I want to keep that in mind. There's a state school board journal, which would love to have an article on this. And there's also a state education convention where this would be a great presentation.
Yeah. Southern Garden did something like this, many years ago. And they got a lot of publicity on it and a lot of people, community involved in it. And I think it's a great idea to, get community involved in it.
I wanted to commend them just really quickly because this is the first, we found out that this is sort of a historical thing in the Rotary world. It's the first time 3 clubs have ever come together to sponsor a project. And it's the first time that the district
has ever funded a student-led project, so, they did amazing. I just wanted to know.
So you're going to school this spring?
Yes, we have a birthday scheduled, fingers crossed, for May 16th, where we're gonna start clearing everything out, and then not just our group, but all of the other Rotary groups are gonna come to and help us clear everything out and start building the stage and kind of just putting stuff together, and then as many other days as we can get to do finishing touches, but hopefully have it done.
Because you're having a lumber like pre-made cut and
Yeah.
everything else, put the nuts and bolts. and-
Exactly, yeah.
So the Rotary group's gonna help you put this together?
Yes.
Well, I salute you on your imagination. I salute you on that you've been able to get things done through other people. That's, you will learn in the real world, that's the definition of management, getting things done through people.
Cutting through-
And even I'm saying this kind of tongue in cheek, I salute you that you've gone all this way, got all this money, and how are you ever going to say no, right? Because it's like when I used to work, and employees would come and say, "Oh, Mr. Warwick, Mrs. Jones is giving us $5,000 for a new yin for the whatever department, and it's not in the budget." Oh, I mean, Mrs. Jones is going to give you that money? Yeah, so how am I going to say no, right? I'll have Mrs. Jones upset with you. So good job, good job.
Thank you.
Fantastic, ladies.
Any other questions or comments for them? Otherwise, we'll look for a motion to approve.
I move that we accept their recommendation and move ahead with the project as presented with and congratulate them on their ingenuity, their hard work, and their forward thinking.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Then we have a presentation on the outdoor kitchen.
We know where you put the outdoor kitchen now, right?
Are you sensing a theme here?
I am.
Are you sensing a theme? Like these kids, you build this big, beautiful school, and they want to go outside.
That's because we have nice windows in the top.
Or also maybe
We have
called,
nice windows that look out now.
Yeah.
it may be termed as riding on coattails.
All right, so this is an update from the last time I was here, about a year ago, when we talked about the outdoor classroom. And I just want to give an update on that because we did receive some funds, and I want to propose phase 1 to move forward with some of those funds, just to get the project started. So I don't think, we didn't have Dr. Guida here, but everyone heard my presentation on this. I left this slide here in case she was going to be here, but the girls actually talked about why having an outdoor space is so useful and beneficial for education. In my world and what I teach, the goal is to expose students to different types of cooking techniques that we can't do in school. Grilling, you've seen my Weber grill outside my classroom, and I want to be able to expand that and to be able to have access to go out and utilize different types of grilling services anytime during the school day. So this, to refresh your memory, this was the original plan. Lots going on here. You can kind of see the entry. This is the entry into the school right here. Administrator's office windows here. The door to my classroom is right here. And this was the plan for the outdoor kitchen space. Of course, Meisner put in lots and lots of landscaping just to refresh and rejuvenate the front of school. But I go to the next slide, and it had a pergola. All these things are right here as the cooking areas. We had 2 gas grills. We have 2 like flat top grills or griddles, a big green egg. We had a wash station factored into there so that people can use this space without access to my classroom or school in the summertime. And then here, kind of tying into the whole grow your own food, but even having a classroom kitchen, we have a raised planter bed here that we had. So we could plant things in the spring before school ends and be able to harvest things in the summertime. Drip system in there, but very simple things. So phase one of the original plan was this. The landscape was just, if we acquired all of the funds and we had them, let's do it. So they drew those in, but phase one was the grilling area. Then there was an area over here, which is kind of an outdoor classroom area. So big open space with rocks or boulders, places where kids could sit underneath the trees with books. And then this was another space, another outdoor classroom type space where students could come here for a classroom session with their teachers. So it just kind of tied both of those areas together here to kind of make it a more inviting space for students to hang out, go outside, eat their lunches. I think we talked about that with like seniors being able to go out and use the space to eat lunches as before their final send off. So the space was kind of building it all together. Moving forward, however, you can see this was a slide that I presented the last time I was here. The project total, phase one, what I just showed you, was $380,000. Project total $400,000 from one end to the other end of the school. You will see these were the grants that I submitted for and received $50,000 from the Rayburn Foundation. However, the ones that are crossed off were ones that did not support the infrastructure of this project. The other ones here, Weber Grill, Door County Medical Center wants to work on this project with sponsorship of any type of event that we have to bring the community in. They want to be a part of that and help sponsor those types of events and activities. Ace Hardware, Bakery, and Egg, when we get to that point, I will be bringing those in. But to start the project, I'm proposing a smaller condensed phase one, utilizing the funds that we have secured, and just to get it going. The focus is to implement it is just get the infrastructure in place. So we're not taking away anything as part of the original plan, but it's getting the infrastructure put in. So getting things like electric lines, water in, drainage, what you don't see under the ground. And then build it in a way that it'll support future expansion, phase two, phase three, as more funds come in. It avoids costly rework later. It builds momentum for additional funding because it shows that we are investing in this idea and putting it forward and utilizing it right away because I'm able to use it with my students right away. We resent it out to bid to see if we could bring down the project into the phase where we could actually fit in the $50,000 budget. And this is the plan that is presented, so you can kind of see it before and after here. And so you'll see, and we have talked about reworking a couple things here because I don't know if we'll get to this part, but because the most important part right here is this part. So what we're planning on is putting in all the infrastructure, putting in everything that goes underground, and availability, water, electric underground, any of the drainage elements, putting in brick, kind of in this category. So it would be, here's my classroom door, and then being able to come across here. We have foundation work going underneath this island, what would be. And then phase two plan would be this sector here, would be phase two with putting the raised planter box in and tying it in with the cabinetry. Meisner has a really great relationship with the company who creates the cabinets, I guess, the patio cabinetry. So they feel really confident about pricing it or getting donations for that area. But to start with the getting in the infrastructure first, which would equate to that $50,000 amount. So it would be a starting point. So we would have a patio space, and then we would build on that from there. All right, that's what I have. Any questions on that?
When would you begin work?
Meisner said they could start working in fall.
And the cabinets are a second phase?
That would be the second phase. So first phase is essentially a patio. And then it would be building upon that after that.
So the brick or pavers?
Pavers. They're like, there's different sizes of them. I have them actually sitting out in my classroom.
I just wonder, I've seen a lot of bricks and pavers in real estate, something, you know, I know Meisner does a great job of installation, but sometimes they get uneven, they break. If you consider stamped concrete, which might be more
Yeah.
serviceable
Right.
and easier
Sure.
snow removal.
Sure, we talked about, that was one of the things when we were picking out everything. We talked about, do we pour a concrete slab? Do we do something more decorative like that? And the thing that we kept talking about or thinking about is, right now we have a pervious substrate here. We have a way for water to leak. Right here, where the raised planter box, so pitch, you think about pitch, everything is gonna pitch away from the school. We don't want any water going towards the school. So we have a pitch coming this direction, but it's hitting a wall right here because this is a raised planter box. So this is raised up here. And yes, there could be drain tile put underneath to help that, but the idea was take away opportunities for concrete to crack with all the winter heating, allow water to just infiltrate right through the brick, makes for easier cleanup. If things get spilled, you just hose it down and it just kind of goes away. So that was kind of the idea and the thought behind doing something. And then you don't have to worry about sealing. That was another thing we discussed, was every couple of years you got to seal it so it doesn't crack. So maintenance down the road might be a little bit more, but up front it is a little bit more for brick. But maybe it would be a little bit more costly later on if we did concrete. It just makes for, I guess you can go either way on that.
So is it being designed so it can be kind of a standalone project? What I'm talking about is, obviously, you know, the high school addition is aging, and in the long-range plans, it's probably going to be replaced. So, I mean, I think it's a great plan, but I think, you know, if it can be a standalone project that you could possibly demolish the building behind it and still have it as a working unit, when the new structure is you know, put up.
What was, we discussed this, didn't we? The last meeting.
I don't remember.
I think that's
If you're just gonna demolish them,
I think that's
roll it into the new build.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea, though.
Yeah.
And all that has to take place is when you design this with whoever the architect is, you design all your systems so they're not contingent upon the building behind it. So that the building behind it can disappear and you can build whatever you want to, but your systems still are working there. I think that's
Yeah, I think it's
really looking
standalone.
ahead.
You know, we'd like to have some type of longevity factor.
Right.
Yeah.
And it may never
So the
happen.
buil-
Yeah.
So the building behind it came down, maybe you just add something to the back as far as landscaping or whatever, and it becomes standalone.
But it depends where my classroom
For
would be.
your classroom, well, yeah.
I think you're kind of, I mean, yeah, that's a good, maybe we'll get to that point someday, and then high school, we'll go to beautiful elementary, whatever, but if you're gonna wait around for that to, you know,
I don't think that's what
even if you get 20 years out of a.
No.
Yeah,
I think
20 years
saying-
down the road, it's gonna get
It's-
this thing on the road.
I think Vic's just saying, keep that thought in your mind as you
Great,
design
yeah,
this.
you know.
Yeah, I'm not
The
saying,
building behind you is not gonna be there. This may not last that long either.
let's forward think, but let's not too forward think.
Right. Now, when I make this comment, you can say, Jerry, your car is running, or Andy is calling you to come home, okay? Is there any possibility from what we just heard, these two projects can come together, since they're both outdoors, instead of having two separate places, consider building something that's multi-purposeful, which will meet all your needs, because this, you got to us first, but also build it in such a way to accommodate what we just heard, as opposed to having two things built at more expense. If you brought the two projects together, because you've already got how much money? 12,000. 11. They're gonna have 15,000 down there by the end of their project. okay?
Jerry's making a point.
Well,
But anyway, but I'm just saying, that makes it a cheaper project, but anyway, it's gonna be a multi-purpose outdoor thing, focusing on your needs, but then allowing these other things to come in, as opposed to doing these separate little.
that's a.
What she's doing here is she has a classroom right here, she's
I
putting it
understand.
outside there. To run a gas line, to have a grill and all this,
I understand.
all the field where they're.
No. I'm not saying move it out to the field. I'm saying move the field into here.
There's not enough room there.
But
Jerry, I think I think this is a great project, it's
I'm not
nature,
saying
it's
it's
all
possible.
thing, they got classroom setting out there, everyone can use it.
I
This is not saying everyone can use this, but you're.
I understand it. I'm saying, have you given it any thought? Ask any of the designers, hey, we've got this project going on. Instead of duplicating services, is there a way you can make this bigger and better in meeting both needs, as opposed to having two different? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, to speak to that, yes, you're right. I mean, I'm looking for accessibility, obviously, out of my classroom. The element here, this is pretty small scale when you're talking about growing things. I think they're looking at bigger community, like, area to have their own community gardens. You know, there's a wonderful community garden right by the hospital, you know, and I can envision what they're doing to be a bigger scale where people have access. This is more of like a smaller classroom kitchen. Certainly it's usable by anybody in the school. I did, though, that was my thought, like, where are we? When I was thinking about this and dreaming of this, was we didn't have an outdoor space. Like, I love that outdoor space, like for them to go in the woods, and I can just picture them in the woods in the shade, and I can picture a lot of classrooms utilizing that space, which is why I was like thinking of those things here. Like, because we want our kids, when it starts to get nice out, when they're mowing the lawn, they're getting that smell in the school, they want to get outside. And this was a space, an idea here, like, let's utilize this area that's underutilized, let's make that into something where kids could go out. But what they're doing is totally fitting the bill too. It's giving another, it's just a little different. You know, we have cars going by here, whereas back there it's a lot more secluded for them to do. It's nature, it's fun and relaxing, yeah.
Have you thought about contacting, we have an alumnus of Sevastopol that has a very big outdoor dining facility downtown. And maybe she might be interested in some kind of sponsorship. Maybe you know what I'm talking
No,
about.
I don't.
Oh, Briggs, I mean, her main name is Briggs.
Yeah.
Kitty
Oh,
Riley.
hi, kitties.
Yeah,
Kitties,
okay.
yeah.
And she has a huge, and maybe you've seen it, huge area for outdoor dining, you know. She might be interested in some kind of sponsorship or something.
Yeah, and that's been kind of the hurdle is finding big grants. like,
Yeah.
on a larger scale, for this project. It's been very challenging to find things that, because I'll find something, maybe by the USDA or some entity, but it's like, I'll get to all of the criteria and then it's like, oh, no, we don't qualify because of this, or it's just there's always been something that's kind of limited the ability to secure funding.
And maybe private sponsorship is what might fuel,
Yeah.
because outdoor dining is extremely big in our country.
Well, and that's kind of how this idea came. It was COVID time, and all the outdoor dining we were doing and being out in our patios because we could be around people outside.
Mhm.
And that was kind of how this idea happened, was I thought about myself and how much I was cooking outside and experimenting with different things and how great it would be to teach those things to my students.
Sometimes a little seed gets planted and it spurs other people on. If you build it, they will come.
That's what my thought is here, like maybe if we can get to here, right, if you build it, they will come, and then can help kind of keep growing. It's showing that we're investing in this area, putting it in place.
So, does anybody have any other questions for Tara on the phase one?
So what's on the table for us to approve?
Phase one, the $50,000 grant she got, and that kind of infrastructure work she's looking for approval for.
Motion to approve phase one as presented.
We need to go up for bid. Oh,
What's your bid limit?
5,000.
5,000, you have to go out and bid it at 5,000. Is that our rule, or is that a state rule?
That's yours.
You've got to be kidding me, you can't even flush the toilet for $5,000. Or get it fixed.
Well, okay, so maybe our motion is, maybe our motion is we approve phase one, subject to sending the project out to bid. That's the motion we need.
I will say, I have been working with Meisner on this for 5 years. 5 years, and they have invested so much in-kind time to taking my vision out of my brain and putting it on paper, and then redrawing it so that we can align with.
You got 5,000
50,000.
invested just in the.
I don't even know. I mean, they've been so wonderful.
Our
to
policy
work with.
requires it though.
Can we put that, as a side issue, can we put that on an agenda of a future item? To review our policy?
Yeah.
I mean, that is like dark ages.
But it's still gonna be less than the 50,000.
I don't know. Let's get reality of what the real world out there.
Can we have a motion on this project?
I need a motion.
No, you have to
We
amend.
need the motion to approve phase one, subject to going out to bid.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Good job.
Heidi, if you would prompt that for another agenda. Yep. Okay, thank you, Kara.
Thank you.
Thanks to Nick and John.
They're wonderful to work with, for sure.
Then we have the 2086, 27 compensation and benefits.
Hey, Chad, we're gonna get you hooked up here in a second. I'm hooking up Compo Insurance, who is our broker, for our presentation on our insurance options for the 26, 27 school year.
You want to go full screen?
Yep. Just give me a second here. I don't have my phone here.
Can you guys hear us?
I can hear.
Okay, we can hear you, so that's,
Can you see my screen?
we can, yes.
that good?
They'll have it in front of them, so that should help.
Okay, I think we're good, Chad. I'm gonna turn it over to you. I'm pleased to present Conkle and Associates as our broker.
Thank you, Randy. Just wanted to start off saying really appreciate this relationship, excited about it, and I love working with school districts. My wife works in one. I have a great relationship here with the Dubuque Community School District, a lot of volunteering and stuff, so I'm excited about this. Is there any questions before we get started? I know Randy shared some information, and I believe you all have this in front of you.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I will go ahead and get started. If anybody does have questions, please feel free to just ask, interrupt. So here's our marketing. This is just our market results. So we went out to market and looked at several different options. The top option right here is your current program. This one is their renewal, which is a 6% increase from Purveya. This one is a CBC Triad program. So this is a level funded program. It's a broader network, so you have access to more places. Level funded has been around for quite a few years. It actually was formed back when the Affordable Care Act came about, or Obamacare is what they called it back in the day. But the Affordable Care Act came out, and what they defined was small group was any group with less than 50 lives. And so they came through and said anybody with less than 50 lives, you're going to be pooled by age. And they took the split of the healthiest groups and the sickest groups within that range too, and said instead of being 10 times of a separation, they lowered it to 3 times. So back then you saw, if you were a young, healthy group, you saw considerable increases with the plans. So what happened was groups of people, and it actually started, I think, with United Healthcare, came out and started what's called a level funded. It's a type of self-funding plan that just doesn't have the risk, and it allows them to health underwrite a group, not age-rated group based on the state or the pool program that the insurance company offers. So in this instance, you would have, as an example, let's say you paid $120,000 a year, it would be $10,000 a month. $6,000 of that would go into a claim fund or a pool, and $4,000 would pay for fixed costs, including stop loss insurance. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time getting into details on it, but essentially what happens is every month you would pay that $10,000. At the end of the year, you would not pay more than $120,000, even if your claims were really bad. So it's a very low risk, similar to a fully insured program like you have, but that's called level funding. And I'm going to get into the details of these a little bit on their plan designs, which also had an impact on, I think, kind of where your decision making is coming in. So WCA, I believe everyone was kind of chatted about this. This is the program that also has a broad network, and they were looking at a buy-down program. Initially, I think, was presented to you. So this is just their straight-up renewal without the buy-down. And then the next one is an HR buy-down options. Just looking at a couple of different options. So I believe they came in at assuming 20% of the population would buy down for an exposure. Well, I increased that to 25%, and then we also showed a 50% exposure. And I'll kind of chat about those reasons. But that takes your pricing, once you add in the fixed costs and that exposure, it takes your pricing to almost a 16% increase or a 23% increase. And then we hit 7 other markets outside of it. They just really weren't competitive. Many of them declined to quote because they weren't competitive, but not very good options this year. Future years they might be, but this year they're not. So this is looking at your current health plan, are the first 3 right here. This is your renewal with the next 3, and it shows all of the pricing for single and family premiums and then the totals, which comes to that 6%. As you can see right here, all of your plan designs stay the same. Everything stays the same on your entire program. If there are changes, what you'll see from our presentations, and actually you'll see it on the next page, is they will be highlighted. So you'll see what plan design changes there are. Any questions so far on any of this?
I'm not
No?
seeing any chat.
What's that?
I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay. So the next one is looking at this WCA GHT program. And so just straight up without the buy down, this is what the program looks like. It comes to a 9.53% increase. Obviously, just right out of the gate, it's more expensive than the renewal. Plus, the plan design changes aren't as good as what the school district currently has. So, when you add in, then on the next page, kind of looking at adding in those buy downs. So initially, I think the discussion that was had with you prior to us being on was a 20% increase, or 20% of the population would have that buy down. I've increased it to 25%, and then I also threw in a 50% on this for an estimation as far as claims exposure. And I did that for a couple of reasons. Number one is saying only 20% of your population is going to use their deductibles is, I don't know if it's very reliable. It's probably a decent number, and there's a chance it could hit, but I think there's a better chance that it won't hit. And I think even on a 25%, we're probably looking at a best case scenario here, just because your program doesn't have any co-pays or anything. So, you know, you go to the doctor for a kid has a sore throat, or you run to urgent care, or, you know, you have a bulging disc in your back and need to get looked at, or tweak your knee, or any of those types of things all applies to your deductible. So I feel like there's a better chance that you're probably going to be over 20%. So this just gives you a good opportunity, particularly if you're looking at budgeting. Most places would want to probably budget on the higher end and not hit it and be, you know, celebrating, right? Yay, we have some extra money back, as opposed to being under. But as you can see, if you're looking even at this 50%, so this is showing the renewal 1.735. Then you add in $234,000 worth of exposure or buy down on the plan. And then the estimated administration. So you have to have a company outside that goes through and processes all of that and selects it or sends who's responsible for what. They reimburse the employees before the buy down comes in, and they get their bills. So you can see that goes up quite a bit then and ends up at 23%. Do I think you'll hit 50% of the population going? You know, good chance not. You know, I'd be 90% confident you're going to be something under that. 25%, I would say, probably not as good. There's also a couple other issues that I always caution people with going with these. So how this program works on a buy down, and I know we actually do it at Kunkel. So our program, though, we don't buy down just, you know, a couple $1,000s. We buy down a bigger chunk. We have like a $10,000 deductible, I think, or a $9,000, and buy it down to roughly where you're at, the $2,000 deductible. So we take on a little bit of exposure and have a little bit more risk, but that works a little bit better on the pricing. But with this, how it works with us is if I go to the doctor, and let's say I have $1,200 worth of claims towards my deductible. It's not coming in as one lump sum for $1,200 either, by the way. Usually you have a couple of doctor's appointments, MRIs, and things of that nature that would come in. So you're getting $300 reimbursements. And those go into your account almost immediately. So within a week, or maybe 2 weeks, you're going to see that $1,200 in different increments show up in the checking account. The problem is then the hospital goes through and they go through their billing system and they run it through the insurance, and then they have to issue the bills to the employees, and it's usually anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks later. So the employees had the money for 4 to 6 weeks, and then suddenly these bills start showing up at their house that they have to pay, and they tend to question it a little little bit and didn't remember, or, they gotta go back and check it all out. It becomes kind of a problem for employees in doing this, but that's what that program looks like. And I know this is something you looked at. Is there any questions on that?
I don't see any.
Okay, I'll assume we're good on that end. So this is what the plan design would look like. So you'd have a $4,200 deductible that would be bought down to $2,100, and then families $8,500 down to $4,200 from that end, and then the out-of-pocket max is also bought down from that program. So the last one is the CPC triad that we were looking at. So this kind of shows the rating. They have this broken out in a 4-tier. So it'd be employee, employee spouse, employee child, and family premium, all broken out. Comes to $460. It actually would be like a 3% increase. But then there's some government stuff that you need to do that need to get filed because it is self-funded. And those costs come in a little bit more. So your final cost would be about a 4% increase. And these plan designs are a little bit different here too, you can see. So this one, the group that's on the 3,500, assumingly probably is taking the $3,000 plan now. So their deductible is a little bit higher. Co-insurance is 80%, so sooner you have to go to the out-of-pocket max, which is also higher. And then you also have RX copays that are in there. And then for the lower one, which is the more expensive one, your deductibles will be an improvement, assuming, the people that were on the 2,000 deductible will go on this. But your out-of-pocket maxes are more. You have copays as it applies to your office visits or specialist visits. Urgent care would have a copay. And then you also have RX copays as it goes through. Questions on that at all? And then this is looking at the vision. So we did go out to market. Your current is Superior Vision. You're in the middle of a contract there, so essentially it would be a flat renewal. So your current is also your renewal in this end. But we went out to Delta Dental, so we found it's about an 18%, or it's over an 18% decrease in premiums. The design is a little bit different. I think it's a little bit better. So your exam copays are the same, but your lens copay, single vision lenses, bifocals, trifocals, all of that stuff is actually less because that stays at $10. Progressives, for standard progressives, it is a little bit more, $20 more when you get the progressives. And then your frames allowance for them is actually a little bit higher, so you're a little bit better. Contacts is a little bit less, but you also have the 120 allowance, and then there's a 20% off balance that they have where they negotiate that in for anyone that goes there. So, and that's what we have.
Any questions?
Medicare is much simpler.
Pardon?
Medicare is much simpler.
And you only get reimbursed, 43%?
Well, that's on the customer
That's on the other side, yeah.
If there aren't any questions, the recommendation that the administrative team would have, as I shared with you earlier this week in the documents, we would recommend that we would stay with Purveya 360. The plan design stays the exact same, and we would have that 6% increase. I do believe that as we continue to move forward, we have to continue to do our due diligence to look at what other options that we may have, whether it's a level funded option, whether it's going and trying to find another consortium, but really trying to maintain the costs. With any of the plans that were submitted, if we would have made plan designs, there could have been a significant increase to our employees. We really did want that out-of-pocket increase to our employees. So this keeps everything the same. We have the ability to still have a balanced budget. We're still proposing coming in within our budget that we had allocated. And so as administrative team, we'd like to see us maintain Prevea 360 as our health insurance moving forward. And then on the vision side, Tosh, pass it to you.
Okay. On the vision side, we're proposing to move to the Delta Dental Insight Network. I did not get an answer on the question. Chad, can I ask if you had time to look into the question that I emailed earlier this evening or late this afternoon?
I'll let Liz handle that. I know she reached out. I don't know if she
Yes.
got an answer.
I did not get an answer. I got out of offices for both of the representatives that I reached out to.
Okay.
So I'm hoping they'll get back to us tomorrow on it. And if not, we'll find someone else to reach out to at Delta to get that answer.
The question that I brought up is our current vision plan covers an ophthalmologist and an optometrist underneath the exam. I'm making an assumption that the reason that you see the reduction is that they don't cover that ophthalmologist, they only cover the optometrist. So if you want to see a real, I shouldn't say real, but a medical doctor,
I would suspect that if the optometrist refers your employee to an ophthalmologist, that would then come under your health plan.
it does.
So it does come under your health plan, but that means that instead of a preventative visit under your vision coverage, you now have a medical visit in which you are responsible for up to your deductible.
But if you're being referred
Or to an
from
ophthalmologist.
your routine thing to someone else, it's not really your routine anymore, now you're, so that,
It usually indicates there's something that
yeah,
should be
something else
dealt
going
with.
on that you need, that's no longer routine, it's.
Right, but if there is something that you have that needs consistent review every year, that your normal exam, right, you go to an ophthalmologist instead of an optometrist
Right.
But
under the other plan.
That just means you've got something,
something,
Yeah.
it's kind of like having a screening
Not
colonoscopy once, say, 5
Huh?
minutes.
Not necessarily. So I'll just, you have an individual who does not wear contacts or glasses, but you have a history in your family of wet eye, whatever it's called. So an optometrist can't
oh, no.
look at that, but an ophthalmologist can. And so your ophthalmologist, you're able to go, and that's covered, and now it would shift it. So for $4,000 difference, does that impact our employees? Because you're now putting it, it's covered, but you now have to hit that $200 exam visit, where right now you don't.
But I would suspect 95%, 99% of the situations where an optometrist can take, it's an exception to the rule where he's going to refer you. Because I just know personally how the optometrists and the ophthalmologists work up here. They work kind of hand in glove. And I think, which is unusual because the ophthalmologists, most of the ophthalmologists look upon the optometrists here kind of as the first line of defense, and they trust them, and then if they see something, then they'll refer them up. And I think it's kind of like a kind of practitioner and going to some specialty.
So is that an answer you need to approve the plan, the vision plan tonight?
I think it's really up to the board to make that determination, knowing that there could be risk. So we're getting a reduction of 18%, but I don't know what that reduction of 18% is in plan design. And so do we want to move, knowing that there could be changes in plan design? Because we don't have that answer right now. I mean, we don't have that underlying piece on the differences, and is there a difference? So, but I defer to the board, that's your choice.
You said though the ophthalmologist more than likely will be picked up under our general health care, right?
But then it's not covered though, and it's gonna cost.
It's going to be on a network? I mean, that's another question.
No, it's not on a network, but it's.
It goes from your eyes plant to the health plan.
Right now, the plan they have, an ophthalmologist is covered. Okay.
There is no guarantee, there is no saying that under the Delta network that it's not covered.
Oh,
No one has said it's not covered.
okay.
But we also don't.
I would assume it is covered. We don't know it is, but I would assume it is covered.
Another question I had was, do you have a lot of people requesting out-of-network care?
Yes.
And we don't have,
We do not have out-of-network care, so the part of the reason I propose moving to the Delta Dental plan is because if you are in Sturgeon Bay or North, there are no in-network providers in this network, none. This plan offers to reimburse the individual at the in-network rate for out-of-network care if you are in a rural area and you have no in-network providers within 20 miles.
oh, okay.
So it means that you could go to an office within Sturgeon Bay and have it covered at in-network rates.
All right.
So at least it provides some coverage, rather than, the problem we ran into is that there are no eye care providers in Sturgeon Bay that carry vision insurance.
Right.
The
Yeah.
nearest one is Algoma. So,
I'm also thinking about the healthcare insurance within, you know, the plan that we're selecting here, I'm assuming out-of-network benefits is none.
So.
oh, you're back to health insurance?
Yeah,
Yes.
back to health.
Health insurance is a little bit different. So they have an option to buy into the POS plan,
Oh,
which would give them the out-of-network access. Also, with Prevea being a limited network facility, if they don't have the services, so, I'll just use cancer as an example, right? So if Prevea 360 doesn't have that expert in their network, then you can go out of network and the cost is covered.
Okay. So I'm also thinking of like, staff members with, let's say, college students
Yep,
that are away, and they would be out of network and have emergency services, that's gonna be covered.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's an out-of-area dependent form essentially online that staff have to complete.
Okay.
So the motion you're looking for is to retain Prevea 360 for health insurance. And what's the name of the vision insurance you're
Delta.
recommending?
Delta.
Delta.
It's Delta Dental.
Delta Dental. But I see two Delta Dentals here, Delta 1 and 2, does that matter?
Oh,
Oh, Delta 1, okay. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the F360 plan and make a change to the vision to the Delta Dental.
I'll second.
Okay, are there further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried.
Tasha, do you want to?
yes, do we want to say thank you to Chad and Liz?
Thank you.
And I guess let them go for the evening. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, to stick with benefits, you should have a document that looks a little like this, a little table. So this should be, I'm hoping, fairly quick. Regarding dental, life insurance, and long-term disability insurance. It's not in your packet, it was handed out separately.
Right.
Yep, small table has M3 on the top. Anybody need a copy? That one, yeah.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you for leaving the line.
Okay. The dental insurance that we are currently with is Delta Dental. We would propose staying with Delta Dental. There is no premium increase. It would just be rolling this forward. And we would stay with M3 as the representative on that for one more year.
Do we get a decrease by bundling Delta twice?
We may next year. We may next year, yes. And then on On life insurance and long-term disability insurance, we are with the standard. We'll go into the second year of a 2-year contract. So that would be a no increase renewal.
I do believe we'll have better rates.
So you need a separate motion?
Do you want to get a separate motion on these?
Does anybody have further questions on this document? Yes.
So I move that we continue with Delta Dental for the next school year.
Second.
Do we need to roll insurance and
Yes.
disability rates into that?
That's already
Yes.
locked in, yeah.
We just need a motion to continue moving forward with the
So you need a motion?
standards
I
life
just
and
want a motion
disability.
for each one of these. You want a motion for the
You
whole
can make
thing?
them all one together.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the Delta Dental proposal and continue our life rate and long-term disability annual as presented.
And I'll second that.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so that takes care of the benefit information for tonight. Then I would like you to look towards the compensation and benefits proposal that you have in front of you, and the compensation schedule proposal that you also have. What we are proposing, what we modeled originally in our budget forecasting model was a 3% increase, and we saw that 17.9% increase from Provea, and then other increases within our other benefits. We were looking at a $450 approximately increase through our modeling. What we are proposing is a 2.63% increase, which falls in line with CPI, and that would be across all positions. Then we would like to put into place a longevity stipend for teachers and support staff. And then that total increase is about $194,000.
So maybe for the benefit of anybody watching, I don't know if there's anybody watching, can you explain the longevity?
Yes, longevity stipend would be for any teacher or support staff who have been working with the district for longer than 10 years. In the first year, in this implementation year, everyone who has been here longer than 10 years would get that stipend this year. Then going forward, you would get it on the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35. That stipend increases as you continue up the scale of longevity. For teachers, it starts at $500 a year. For support staff, it starts at $250 a year. Do you need more information on that? It goes up.
So it,
So every 5 years it would be
So
double then, or
right, so
500,
from,
750?
if you've been here for 10 to 14 years, this year you would get $500. Then on year 15, you would get $750. On year 20, you would get $1,000.
But that doesn't roll into your base pay.
It does not roll into your base pay.
So we're not going to give any increases on top of the stipend. Sorry.
No, we're giving a 2.63% increase.
No, but I mean.
Right, it does not continue on every year.
yeah, so you're doing this in lieu of a 3% that you had budgeted.
Right.
originally. Okay.
Right.
So I think that's a good idea. I mean, I'm all in favor of some type of longevity reward. Maybe it seems modest, in the beginning. Maybe it can be increased in future years, but I think it's a great first step in recognizing people's, ability to stay here. And I think it's a good step.
And the details of the longevity piece will come to you in the handbook. But this is just giving the overall, the concept of the compensation piece and what that whole package looks like and the dollars.
Do you have any more questions about the wage side of adjustments? You can also see this information on the table that you have in front of you, which lays out more of our support staff hourly wages. Part of what we heard from support staff was, with the longevity stipend, was that there are no increases once they hit step 3, which is 18 months into their time here. And this would at least continue some award or remain with us. Okay, third. Sorry.
Question? So we get it right, how do you want the motion worded?
Just the only thing we need a motion on is the increase on the salary. Because that
It's
allows
two-
us to move the contract.
2.63?
Plus the longevity.
The longevity will come back to you in the handbook, so you don't need to take action on that. I just wanted to bring the whole.
Wouldn't you want them to take action on that, though? I'm sorry, we should have talked about this earlier, because it will be in their
It's
contracts.
going to be part of the year.
It will be a separate stipend, but it will be
That'd be
listed
better
on the
than having,
contract.
that'd be better than it being hidden in the
Because we put all those other
Yes.
statements on the contract, so yeah.
Okay, so yes, we would want a motion on the longevity piece too,
And 2.63 is all staff.
all staff.
I would move that we accept the compensation of 2.63% to all staff members, as well as the longevity stipend package that has been presented.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is that it? That's all of our stuff? Okay, then, we've got a future meeting, May 20th at 6 p.m. If there is no other business, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.